Opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And hello, K-Man, and welcome to another episode of Straight Talk here on your favorite Bobo 103.1 FM. I'm your host, Austin Harris.
And I'm Ellio Solomon, and welcome to Straight Talk, home for all those persons who love to think. That includes you and I, Harris. How are you today?
I'm good, Solomon. How was your Friday?
Yeah, man, good. Well, let me tell you, you know, what's that saying? TGIF, thank God it's Friday.
Yes, sir, yes, sir.
Well, I mean, I love coming in here. I love you. I love all the listeners, you know, the viewers. But, hey, I'm thankful it's Friday. Let's put it that way.
Friday, all right. No naps today, I think.
I didn't get any naps today, you know. I didn't get my nap in.
I know.
By the time I finished up, it was like, nah, I don't have the time. If I do that, trust me, I won't be making show today.
Okay.
I said, so no, I didn't get one. How about you?
No,
but you're always busy.
Yeah, I am always busy. But I was going to say, though, the dreaded thunder showers are once again in the forecast for tonight and tomorrow. And if they hold true, then both days could be tonight and tomorrow.
Force me to stay in and get some rest?
I was going to say that. It could be good days to take a nap.
It will probably take that for me to get some rest.
Nothing quite like an afternoon rain shower to prompt a good afternoon siesta session, at home. And if that is the case, then certainly we have something to look forward to. There was, though, and I wanted to tell you this. I don't know. Well, you probably didn't see it, because you're one of those, fall asleep and sleep like a lamb all the way through until the sun rises. But at dark 30 this morning, anyone who was up at 3:30-ish, there was a very lovely lightning show going on this morning. And not the crackling fingers lightning, but the lightning behind the clouds type thing. So it's, lighting up the sky.
Yeah.
But it was very active. Normally you get lightning, you got to wait at least 5, 10, sometimes 15 seconds for the next flash. These things, it was like a nightclub. That's what I thought it was. It was like strobe lights in the sky.
I hazard to ask what you're doing at these ungodly hours of the morning.
You know what? It's a very good question. I ask my body clock the very same thing all of the time. Why on earth are
Maybe you had a
me?
coffee too late.
No, it's not that. I've been getting up at dark 30 for more than a few years now, and in some lucky occasions I can fall back asleep. Most times, no, not really. And if I do fall back asleep, it's sometime after 5, which of course makes waking up at 7 painful.
Yeah.
So you almost just say, okay, I'm up, right? Might as well do something productive with your day. But that aside, it was gorgeous this morning, and I thought, wow, the clouds potentially look very ominous. I thought maybe the day would start with some thunder showers, but as 5:30 rolled around, the sun started to wake up. Well, the lightning show was all there was. No rain, though the forecast again called for isolated showers throughout the day, and I can attest, because I found myself on the road on more than one occasion today, despite my best efforts.
Did you find yourself in one of those little isolated areas?
I did.
Where the water was falling?
I did, as a matter of fact.
Okay.
It was one of those situations where you start to see the drip drops, and you go, is that going to rain? Is it not going to rain? But as you drive further along, then it really came down.
Mm-hmm.
So it did rain in portions of Georgetown, actually, because my movements were restricted to Georgetown today.
Noted.
And there was rain. There was a little bit of rain in Industrial Park. There was a little bit of rain on, what would you call that?
You sound like you're doing a Donald Trump on us.
What's that?
Was that a little rain? It wasn't a rain.
Just a little precipitation, just a little.
Just big.
It wasn't bigly, but we're hoping for bigly thunder showers this evening if the National Weather Forecast actually, bears out to be the case. But yeah, so So, yeah, that's your weather. Let's take a look. Since we're talking about weather, we might as well talk about it. What do you say? So isolated showers were expected today. Doppler radar images showed scattered thunder showers to the south of Grand Cayman, moving towards the west. Your forecast for tonight calls for, and again, I'm almost skeptical to say it, but thunder showers are expected not only this evening, but also into your Saturday afternoon. So it could be a rainy 2 nights, or 2 days, a night and a day, which is just fine with me. Sunday, isolated showers expected, but the sun is supposed to come out on Sunday, so maybe a nice day on Sunday to be expected. Nothing wrong with a few, how should we say, not even showers, I guess you'd call it, what would you, drizzles would be a word that we would use here for those days where it's not quite sure whether it wants to rain or not.
Drizzling.
But thunder showers are in the forecast for tonight and again tomorrow. High temperature expected to reach a high of 82 degrees tonight. Winds will be out of the east at 10 to 15 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Tomorrow, again, winds out of the east to southeast at 10 to 15 knots with higher gusts, and sea state will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. So that's a quick look at your Friday and into Saturday, and dare I say, even into Sunday weekend weather forecast, brought to you by the National Weather Service of the Cayman Islands. So you're out and about this weekend. You might want to pack an umbrella. But then again, it is rainy season, so that umbrella should be part of your vehicle necessities, just to be safe. We have some really good news to talk about to start us off.
All righty. I love
good news.
I love good news. Give me some good news.
That's your best SpongeBob impression, is it?
I don't even know who that is, to be quite honest with you.
I don't know, but it's good.
All I can say is, I love it.
You do. I never.
And some days you just need good news, you know?
Do. Well, the hospitality industry says it's trying to keep occupancy rates up during the
Who's trying to keep who?
The hospitality industry. Now. The hospitality industry are trying to keep it up, Ellio, okay? They're doing their best, and they're going to do it naturally. They're trying to
to be honest with you, I almost thought you said the hospital's trying to keep the occupancy rates high. I would say, am I not surprised?
No kidding. Well, it is summer after all. So let me try that again without interruption.
Yeah.
The hospitality industry, that's the hotels, for those of you uninitiated, are trying to keep occupancy rates up during the quieter summer months with its annual summer staycation deals and steals for Cayman residents. We got a number of locations that we can actually identify and some of the deals and steals that they're offering, starting with Cayman Villas. Many of the 60-plus holiday villas at the Cayman Villas collection are offering a 5-night stay for the price of 4, with the promotion running until the 31st of August. So get 5 nights and only pay for 4. Sounds like a good deal. Again, we're talking villa rental, so it's not just a matter of a room, but it's arguably a house, you and your family, or, hey, you and your girlfriend that you're trying to impress. Yeah, this is my summer place, stay a couple of days. Come join me. Come staycation with me.
I was gonna say the same thing. If they really wanted a staycation stay, it would have to be 1 night free, or 2 nights for the price of 1.
Hey, well, maybe one of these rates here that I'm going to share
might have that.
Will tickle your fancy. Let's see. So we got the Grand Cayman Resort. The hotel is currently offering 30% off the regular price. And including breakfast. So whatever you want, whatever day, 1, 2, 3 or a week, but 30% off the regular price with breakfast. The Grand Cayman Marriott Resort is offering deals until September. Residents who book 2 nights or more will get a CI $82 credit on their room bill to spend at the resort. So it's kind of a savings, but you're savings it to spend it on hotel amenities. But again, the Grand Cayman Marriott does have some nice amenities, so it could be a good deal. We've got Hampton by Hilton on 7 Mile Beach. They're offering 7 nights, and again, the 7 night is free. So pay for 7 gets pay for 7 Pay for six and get seven. There we go. That's what I was trying to say. I was having a hard time.
Whereas the government, I'm here to help.
Thank God we share a brain, buddy. I appreciate you more than you know.
Yeah.
The Holiday Inn Resort Grand Cayman, the Holiday Inn Stay Longer and Save means guests can save 30% off their room rate only if they book 3 nights or more in advance. Whilst one of Cayman's newest hotels, the Hotel Indigo, is offering Cayman resident rates starting at a $199 per night, plus resort fees and service charge. Resident guests staying 2 nights will receive the 3rd night free. So I'm starting to see a bit of a trend here with pay for 3 and, pay for 2 and get the extra night free.
Yeah. We're on a pattern here.
We're on a pattern.
Which one is that one, baby?
That's Hotel Indigo.
Okay.
I haven't been there yet, and I should because I've been dying to try. I just want to say that I went to Pum Pum, which is their
what?
It's called Pum. Well, I think it's
the restaurant is called Pum Pum.
Well, I think it's called Pom Pom, but I call it Pum Pum. it's at the very top floor.
Oh my God.
It's like a nightclub restaurant, but yeah, it's spelled POM, but the more Caribbean brothers and sisters that go there, everyone calls it Pum Pum. So I want to go and take a picture next to the sign.
You probably got to make sure and say it slow. I ate at Pum Pum.
At.
I want you to know.
What's the special? Really? Do you have to ask?
I ate at Pum Pum.
At Pum Pum.
No misunderstanding.
Understand. My fish have to cook.
So that's why you want to. That's why you want to stay at Indigo.
Well, I want to go there. Actually, I want to go because I've heard a lot about Pom Pom. Let's call it what it is. My son actually had the treat. I want to say last year, maybe his mother took him there for his birthday, and ironically, kind of like you, when someone says buy you dinner, he orders steak and a good steak. Of course, he's a meat eater, so he loved it. He thought he had a great time, and that's all he talked about for a while there. So he was kind of the selling point for me. I still haven't made it yet, but it's on the list of things to do.
All right.
Local Hotel there on Grand Cayman, 7 Mile Beach. They are offering residents a staycation rate of $99 per night, and that offer extends all the way until the 31st of October. The deal also includes breakfast and complimentary beach
Where's
kits.
that place?
Local. That's the one.
Right. You run right into it by the Rubis.
That's right, exactly. And they got the ice cream shop downstairs.
I haven't been there.
I haven't been there either. I have.
But $99 a night sounds pretty good.
It is. I have gone to a breakfast at the Local's, restaurant area. And it's very good. As a matter of fact, that meeting that I wanted to invite you to, but we couldn't attend. There's another one coming up at the end of August. I think the location is going to be Local going forward. So
okay, great.
Maybe in August, if you don't go before that, I'll definitely take you for breakfast.
Sounds like a deal.
Last but not least, we got Vida in the Cayman Islands. This is a health and wellness retreat that's located in Barker's West Bay. They're offering 40% off their regular room rate during the month of August. So
I don't know what their regular room rate is.
Neither do I, and that's I think that's the fine print on a lot of these. Those are saying, well, we give you $199 a night, we give you $99 a night. In this case, 40% off, 30% off the regular rate. But who knows what the regular rate is? But again, times they are hard, and I want to thank all of the hotels and hospitality locations who are participating in the summer staycation for residents deals and steals. And I shouldn't say they're just for residents. Obviously, they're also catered to the tourism crowd as well, the stayover tourism side. So whether you're a tourist trying to choose a place for the summer or you live here.
Oh, but I thought these were deals specifically just for locals.
Well, like I said, they're residents. And there are
residents.
There are resident deals, and then there are, other deals for tourists. I left out the tourist deals because,
right,
hey,
come
on, you want to travel to the Cayman Islands, you can pay top dollar. It's okay. Sometimes, we got to promote deals just for us. Just for us. So if you
I don't know about anybody else, but the $99 at Local sounds pretty good.
I am thinking the same thing. And again, the food was good. So that's
you say we book a room and, and
just stay for breakfast, you know?
Yeah.
Why'd you book a hotel room? I wanted to try their breakfast. I just wanted to. It's one of those things.
Hey, I know certain people that went to the shop, right? They bought like 8 balls of ketchup. And you say, why did you buy 8 balls of ketchup? We don't need. Well, it was a sale on.
It was a sale. It was a bargain.
I just bought it.
Exactly. I don't need to buy ketchup for the rest of the year. It's a bonus.
The thing is, you're not even eating. You hardly ever eat.
You know,
ketchup.
though.
So I guess it'll be a case of we just got the room because it sounded like a deal.
Well, you know, it's funny that I used to date someone, and it's usually women that are better at this than men, in my experience. That you know, they know where to find the sales, and they're good with it. I mean, they're great with their shopping experience. Even things like at one stage, you know, milk, for example, was on special.
Right.
And she would go out and buy 3 gallons of this stuff. And I said, well, what are you going to do with it? You can't, it's going to go bad. And she goes, freezer. And of course, the light bulb went off. Oh, yeah, of course you can freeze it and you can extend the shelf life of milk, you know? And again, milk is not exactly a cheap item, but it is sort of a staple, right? So the point is that there's always a good deal and steal available if you can find it and if you've got the patience for it. And I find that to be a quality that women have over men.
Yeah,
but there are some men.
Male shoppers are typically in, out.
Yes,
Yeah.
as quickly as possible.
I went in just for this
and that's
and
it.
got out.
That's
There you
it. Exactly. I did not succumb to the temptation.
Yeah.
You know, that
Nothing else distracted me.
Nothing else at all. I got in and my goal was to get out.
In fact, I don't even know the price of the item I just purchased. All I know is that's what I needed.
That was on the list and that's all I got. That's
What?
it.
The receipt? Where is that receipt?
I don't know. Here is the product that I came for.
That's all I can say.
That's all that matters, indeed. So there's some great opportunities for locals to staycation in the Cayman Islands over this summer. And thank you to all of the participating resorts, hotels, and villas who are trying to, again, make it a little easier for us residents to pretend to be tourists for a little while. Again, summer, we got the kids always, looking for new activities. And why not? Hang out at a resort, get a massage, get breakfast in bed. Room service is fantastic. I mean, really, if you ask me, why book a hotel in the Cayman Islands or anywhere? Room service, they're open 24 hours a day, especially when you're up at dark 30. That could be very useful. But anyway, I digress. So those deals are available, and great big thanks to all the resorts who are participating. Speaking of places to stay for the summer for residents and tourists, from a visitor standpoint, they can now have the reassurance of knowing that choosing a vacation in the Cayman Islands this summer will offer the added benefit of vacationing in one of the safest islands in the Caribbean.
In the world.
In the world, but in this case, definitely in the Caribbean. The Cayman Islands was among 9 other islands in the region listed by offshore consultation firm Nomad Capitalist in a guide published this week on the 23rd of July. The firm took into account data from crowdsourced organizations such as Numbeo, the United Nations Office on Crime, and the Travel Advisory Rating assigned by the U.S. Department of State. All of those included in the list hold a level 1 advisory rating, which indicates that they are low risk and low crime, where travelers should exercise normal precautions when visiting. Nomad Capitalist said the Cayman Islands had an impressively low crime rate, along with a friendly atmosphere and a strong focus on safety. I mean, really, if you're looking for someone to vouch for the Cayman Islands or vouch for a jurisdiction to vacation, you can't go wrong with impressively low crime rates, friendly atmosphere, and a strong focus on safety. It added that although the Cayman Islands are in a hurricane zone, they are less frequently struck than some of the other Eastern Caribbean islands. And of course, there's a reason for that, but we'll get into that later. The other islands on the list include St. Bart's, Anguilla, Grenada, Dominica, Antigua, Barbados, St. Lucia, and Aruba. So the Cayman Islands is in good company with the other islands in the region. Now, on the bad side, the U.S. Department has only issued one Caribbean country with a do not travel level 4 rating. You want to guess which one it is?
No.
Haiti. No surprise there. Due to the crime, civil unrest, and they say poor health care, but really the crime and civil unrest has been going on in Haiti for a while now. Would certainly put it on a do not travel list for any vacationer, unless, you're into those thrill vacations, you want to experience life or death in a moment while walking on the beach. This could be your location. Also, surprisingly, but not, they're also having their fair share of issues. Trinidad and Tobago had a reconsider travel level 3.
Isn't that where is that the one with the lady who was running for office saying, what you said?
Mia Motley.
Load up your clip.
Oh, yes, that's the one. That is the
Fire your matic, light them up. I said, Lord God help us.
You got that right.
Well,
this coming from a leader of a country,
oh
wow,
my God,
gives you an idea what the state of crime might be like.
Yeah.
Jamaica, the Dominican Republic, and Cuba all also have a exercise increased caution level 2 rating, again, by the U.S. Department of State. So there is a bit of good and bad, a little vinegar with your honey. But for us here in the Cayman Islands, again, impressively low crime rate, friendly atmosphere, and a strong focus on safety. If you're a visitor living anywhere else but the Cayman Islands, thinking about where your next tropical vacation could be this summer, well, there you go. You have the added benefit.
The U.S. advisor for Cayman would be everything good, man.
Everything good, man. Did this see
Don't worry yourself.
Don't worry yourself. Exactly.
Just go on. No.
Just go on, man. Go on.
The worst thing could happen to you is somebody just ask you for $1.
You know what I mean?
Nothing to worry about.
Nothing to worry about. A little suntan, but that's all right. That's what aloe vera is for. See?
I should have threw in the referendum at that point. They did have a referendum, so who knows?
Who knows?
You might light up a spliff as well.
The bad news is so gone. You might just. Well, there you go. That's your good news for today. I suppose I could put this in the good news category as well.
Squeeze it in there.
Squeeze it in there. Remember yesterday we were talking about the DVDL program to turn in, old plates, whether they be the yellow plates or...
my mind went though.
I can only imagine. Go ahead.
I said, considering getting rooms for $99 and you're eating at the Pumpo restaurant, I think you can squeeze a little good news. Go ahead.
Very good. Very good.
Yeah, work that one out for you.
So,
I'm sorry. I can't help myself, especially on Fridays.
I'm trying not to cough. You go and say things like that.
$99 room, Austin eating at the Bum Bum restaurant, and now he's trying
bargain.
Now he's trying to squeeze in the good news. All right, I think we're getting somewhere.
I think we're getting somewhere. I don't know if it's a good place or not. So yesterday we talked about the DVDL plans to, turn in old or decommissioned plates, and they include temporary plates, the quincentennial plates, the personal plates, and the old orange and yellow plates. But they also, in the press release that we read, said it also includes EVR plates. That's the electronic verification plates that we talked about, RFID plates, which was, he struck us as odd because that means all of the plates because they're all RFID.
Yeah.
But apparently, and this is an example of where sometimes a picture does actually help,
right?
To provide context in a story.
Mm-hmm.
The story is featured on every major news media in the Cayman Islands right now, but only one has taken it a step further to give, again, a visual reference, and that's the Caymanian Times.
Mm-hmm. Good old Cayman Times.
Good old Cayman Times. Sometimes a picture says 1,000 words. It really breaks it down. So there are some temporary and some personalized plates that are also of the RFID category. So maybe those are the ones that are being referred to in the EVR plates inclusion. Also, you will recall that yesterday we went on the DVDL website and they had a point-and-click reference to say these are the plate numbers that particularly are going to be replated. But we clicked it and we got a file 404. Sorry, this file has been deleted or was never here in the first place. It was just meant to mess with you. But I guess the Caymanian Times captured a screenshot of that page before it went 404. So they've actually provided the list of plates that will be replated. You check it out at KManionTimes.ky. But they are registration plates with the number 102174 all the way to plates that go as high as 170372.
Oh.
There are 3 plates of the 319 variety. I got 31922, 31928, and 31929 as being on that list of replated. But the good news here is not all of them. So if you want to check out whether your plate is one of those that might be on the list of turn in before November 14th.
Go grab a Cayman Times?
Go grab a Cayman Time. But you know, grab a Cayman. Yeah, you can grab a Cayman Time.
That'd be a good recommendation.
That'd be a very good recommendation.
I'm glad we made that.
I'm glad we did. Goodness. But if you don't want to get out of your house and you're already at home, you can find them online as well. www.KManionTimes.ky. Check out the story that says deadline approaches for replacement of decommissioned vehicle plates. And, well, you'll be glad you did. So that's the good news for our Friday. And thank you, K-Manion Times, for, again, solving a mystery that was bothered us yesterday.
Paints 1,000 words.
Indeed. Look at that.
How much time we have?
Not enough. We're going to pause, take a short commercial break. Time to check in with the top of the hour news brought to you by the BBC. But there'll be more Straight Talk still to come. The phone lines are open at 745-2626. We'll be right back on your favorite Bobo 103.1 FM.
Bobo.
The BBC's From Our Own Correspondent.
In today's Russia, no one is allowed anywhere near the political stage if they pose a serious challenge to Vladimir Putin.
Stories and reflections from our reporters around the world.
There is a major sense of insecurity here. More people are coming in from Sudan every day.
From Our Own Correspondent from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
How can we understand the world better?
The BBC World Service is a window onto the wider world.
A vantage point from which to survey a new horizon.
News, reports, and analysis from around the world.
Stories we think matter.
Different people from different societies.
We get to the heart of global issues.
News, stories, and global perspectives from the BBC World Service.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM. The BBC is the world's most trusted news source. And Bobo 103.1 is where you'll find the BBC World Service.
BBC News. The world news from the BBC.
And the home of Cayman's most listened to talk shows.
That's right, folks. Everyone is telling their mama about the cold hard truth.
And welcome to Straight Talk. I'm your host, Austin Harris.
And I'm Ellio Solomon.
Across Cayman, on FM, online, and on your smart speaker. This is Bobo 103.1. This is Bobo 103.1, powered by Health Services Authority. At Health Services Authority, they are committed to caring for you. They are Cayman's largest and longest-standing healthcare provider, offering the most comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and public health services at 9 different locations across all 3 islands. Across Cayman on 103.1 FM, online, and on your smart speaker. The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo 103.1.
BBC World News, I'm Tom Dewsbury. Hello. A former US Special Forces colonel who was hired by the US and Israeli-backed group distributing food in Gaza has told the BBC he's never witnessed such indiscriminate brutality against civilians. Anthony Aguilar worked alongside the Israeli military and American contractors at sites run by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. He said he resigned after witnessing desperate crowds being attacked with mortar rounds and tank fire.
In my entire career, have I never witnessed the level of brutality and use of indiscriminate and unnecessary force against a civilian population, an unarmed, starving population. I've never witnessed that in all of the places I've been deployed to war until I was in Gaza at the hands of the IDF and U.S. contractors.
Israel and the GHF continue to insist their forces have not targeted civilians. The British Prime Minister Keir Starmer said the UK will evacuate Palestinian children who need urgent medical assistance from Gaza. In a video statement on social media, Mr Starmer said the children would be brought to the UK for specialised medical care. He said the scenes of starvation from the Palestinian territory were horrifying.
The appalling scenes in Gaza are unrelenting. And I know the British people are sickened by what is happening. The images of starvation, and desperation are utterly horrifying. The denial of aid to children and to babies is completely unjustifiable.
Earlier, Israel said it would allow foreign countries to airdrop aid into Gaza in the coming days, but humanitarian organisations have warned that airdrops can't meet demand. Thailand's declared martial law in 8 eastern districts bordering Cambodia in the second day of fighting between the two neighbours. Defence officials said military force was unavoidable to protect Thai people from outside threats and maintain territorial integrity. More than 138,000 civilians in Thailand have fled since renewed military clashes erupted on Thursday. Donald Trump's arrived in Scotland for a 5-day private visit. The US president's primarily visiting 2 of his golf resorts and dedicating a new course named in honour of his late mother, who was Scottish. On arrival, Mr Trump confirmed he'd meet the British Prime Minister and President of the European Commission. Here's James Cook.
Mr Trump spoke to reporters after landing on Air Force One at nearby Prestwick Airport, saying he was looking forward to his meeting with Sir Keir Starmer and describing the Prime Minister as a good man who'd got a trade deal with the US done. But business leaders, including whisky producers, hope Sir Keir and Scotland's First Minister John Swinney can persuade President Trump to cut taxes, known as tariffs, on British exports to the US. The European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen says she too will talk trade with Mr Trump on Sunday.
BBC World News. Ghislaine Maxwell, the accomplice of the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, is being questioned for a second day by US Justice Department officials. Speaking after the meeting, Maxwell's lawyer said the truth about what happened to Epstein would come out. It's unclear whether the Deputy Attorney General intends to question her further. Here's Nomir Iqbal.
It's almost unheard of for a convicted sex trafficker to meet with such a high-ranking Justice Department official, especially one who used to be the president's top criminal defense attorney. The whole thing is controversial. Annie Farmer is someone who testified against Maxwell at trial. She spoke to my BBC colleagues questioning why Maxwell was granted a meeting with him in the first place. And then you have Democrats who are really making hay of all of this. The Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer saying that the conflict of interest is glaring. He said that this stinks of high corruption.
France's highest courts annulled an arrest warrant for the former Syrian president Bashar al-Assad, issued over alleged chemical attacks during the country's civil war. The court ruled the warrant was invalid as presidential immunity covered even alleged war crimes. But the decision paves the way for a fresh warrant as he's no longer a sitting head of state. Hundreds of anti-government demonstrators have protested in the Tunisian capital on the 4th anniversary of President Kais Saied's power grab, which saw Parliament suspended and ruled by decree. Marching in Tunis under the slogan, "The Republic's a large prison," they said the country had descended into authoritarianism with mass arrests and politically motivated trials silencing the opposition. And the British actor Michael Ward has been charged with rape and sexual assault. Mr Ward, who stars in the critically acclaimed Netflix series Top Boy, as well as several movies and TV shows, faces 2 counts of rape and 3 counts of sexual assault. He's denied the charges. The alleged offences are reported to have taken place in January 2023. BBC World News.
Opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And welcome back, Kim-Ann, to more Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM and simulcasting live over YouTube and Facebook with the key search word Straight Talk Radio Show. We're your hosts, Ellio Solomon, myself, Austin Harris. You can also find us streaming live on the ACT Cruise Tourism Facebook page as well. The phone lines are open here in studios on this Friday. Number to call 745-2626. If you haven't already decided on your favorite watering hole, or perhaps not yet quite settled down there yet, and you want to ask a question or perhaps even raise a topic or two, by all means, pick up the phone, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. If talking isn't your thing, you can still reach out to us by reaching our WhatsApp number, 928-2562. And from there, you can either send us a traditional text message or a WhatsApp audio note. And if we receive it while we're on the air, then we'll share your thoughts live with our listening audience. Ellio, you wanted to comment on the licensing plate issue one more time.
Before we ran out of time?
Before we ran out entirely out of time, yeah.
No, they talked about handing in the plates. Now, I'm not really sure what does that mean. Does that mean retiring the plate, or does that mean literally, physically handing it in? Because I would imagine specifically the quincentennial plates
would be a keeper.
Is a keeper.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, this is, 500 years only comes once, right?
I was going to say, yeah.
And so it was to celebrate a very special occasion. I would think the people should have a right to keep those plates.
Well, I think what the DVDL is actually saying
is you can't use them.
Very good. Yeah, you can't use them. Very good question.
But it's not necessarily reading that way.
Yeah, it doesn't read that way. It says hand in or get rid of or take them off your car. Otherwise, you're going to go to jail. Certainly with the quincentennial plates, I would agree. I would think, because people did pay for those as well. I would think those would be keepers. I think the personalized plates would be keepers as well. They're not going to take them from you, I can't imagine. But I think what they are insisting is that they can no longer be displayed on your vehicle as part of the official formal registration tag.
I think it's clarity that's required. And the reason I say that is because, yes, I would definitely infer 100% that no matter what the circumstances is that they're saying you can't utilize them on your vehicle. But they may actually be saying that we don't want you running around with plates either.
Well, here again.
Because do you want someone necessarily running around that they could be swapping plates in the middle of the night? Maybe not.
The question is answered in the first paragraph.
Okay, great.
The Department of Vehicle and Driver's Licensing, DVDL, in alignment with the National Road Safety Committee's strategic efforts, is reminding the public that all vehicles currently displaying decommissioned or temporary registration plates, including EVR plates, must complete replacement by November 14th, 2025. So you have to replace your quincentennial, your decommissioned, your personalized plates with formally recognized plates. It doesn't say you need to hand them in. You just need to replace them, and replace them from where, you might add? Well, your car, obviously. So if they're on your car, you take them off and you replace them with the new plate that they're going to give you. So I think that pretty much answers the question, unless, of course, you want to be more precise. You need further verification.
Still a little bit nebulous, Mr. Harris.
Still a little nebulous, he says.
Yeah, right. I think you need to confirm, because again, I could see a reason of caution for not having a person running around or possessing. Let me give some substance to what I'm saying.
All right.
If you in Cayman, first of all, you're using two plates. Typically in the U.S., I think you're only using one, right?
Right.
But let's just say one of my plates become damaged or lost.
Mm-hmm.
To the best of my knowledge, you have to bring in the other plate. You can't just say, okay, I've lost it, and then, you get it replaced.
Right.
So there is a concern about a person, because let's think from a criminal standpoint.
Sure.
If I'm allowed to be able to keep my old plates, then what I'm able to do is, I'm going to make a night move. Not that I'm suggesting anyone else here, Mr. Harris, is doing a night move.
Nothing like getting tips on how to be a better criminal from your favorite evening talk show. Please continue, Mr. Solomon. I'm sure eager minds are writing, taking notes as you speak.
All right. Well, if you're allowed to keep your old plates, there is a potential. And I'm just saying,
Your Honor, it wasn't me.
On behalf of the Vehicle Licensing Department, in terms of their risk mitigation team, surely they might see it that, if you keep your plates, your old plates, here's a guy that's, he's a kind of 182-378 during the day. And in a night, he's a 745, 26, 26. That's all I'm saying.
Just say it.
And so,
say it.
And then, you can't nail him down, right? That's all I'm saying.
Fair enough. That's a good point.
So for that reason, again, I hear the replace, but the replace isn't quite quite key enough.
Quite key enough.
Still a little bit vague.
How'd you say? It's nebulous.
So I would just it's a bit nebulous. I would suggest to my good friend Mr. Dixon and the team over there. I mean, set us straight. Set us straight. Yeah, yes.
Well, again, we made a curtain call for the infamous Mr. Dixon, and again, we apologize. We don't remember your first name, but I do believe I had the good fortune of working and meeting with a Mr. Dixon when I was in office, particularly working on the whole traffic
awesome
issue. He really is a quality human being.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Dixon, if you got your ears on, we would love to still hear from you to get some clarification on this whole replacement of decommissioned registration plates before the November 14th, 2025 deadline. If you're listening, we'd love to hear from you.
The question is,
if you're not listening and somebody who knows Mr. Dixon, whether, I don't know, he's your pool buddy, your fishing buddy, or just your buddy, guy you know, maybe your neighbor.
Bars truck on the weekends.
And boys on the radio talking about you, they want to get some clarification because there's a, what word was he used? Nebulous is what he said. Nebulous, whatever that means, but that's the word they use.
I think nebulous is that thing up there in the Arctic.
That's
right. The swirly thing. And it.
It was definitely in the sky, I believe.
Something like that.
Something like that. But seriously, though, we'd love to hear from you, Mr. Dixon. Barring, of course, you volunteering and calling in, saying, "This is below me. I don't have time for this nonsense. Read it, damn it,
guys."
But yes, we will definitely try to get clarification in the absence of hearing directly from Mr. Dixon. But if you know Mr. Dixon, if you know anybody from DVDL, as a matter of fact, you don't have to be Mr. Dixon. You could be anyone who works at the DVDL that could provide some clarification.
Pretend to be
policy.
Mr. Dixon.
You can pretend to be Mr. Dixon.
Hi, guys. This is Mr. Dixon.
How would we know? We wouldn't.
I just think it's an interesting issue because from the quincentennial standpoint, I guess you have two plates.
Yeah.
So on this, working with these scenarios, Mr. Harris, these are the things we have to do in the absence of, our key professionals calling in and setting us straight.
Indeed.
That you have typically two plates. So at least potential on the quincentennial side, the government could allow you to keep one.
Yes.
Right? Because after all, going out at night, trying to, again, manage risk, going out at night with one plate just wouldn't cut it. Right? So that would still be putting in the pepper. So assuming it is a case that replacement actually means that you have to bring it in. And I am very much inclined to believe that's the case. I remember even getting some temporary plates myself. You have to bring them in, Austin. And if that is indeed the case, I do want to argue on behalf of some of the people with quincentennial plates that maybe they should be allowed to keep half of their possessions, keep one plate, because I think it's a very commemorative moment.
Yeah.
And like I said, 500 years only comes once, and it takes quite a while to get there.
Correct.
So it would be good for them to keep it. But again, if I'm wrong that they can actually keep their plates, which I'm seriously doubting it, then obviously that's not an issue.
Absolutely.
So we shall see. We'll try to find out in the event that everybody's just busy doing their Friday thing.
Absolutely. Speaking of their Friday thing, and of course, speaking of deadlines.
Yeah, it's Mr. David Dixon. That's his name.
David Dixon. Bravo.
Yeah.
So speaking of deadlines and Friday happy hour, holders of liquor licenses, including licensees with music and dancing licenses in Grand Cayman, are reminded that the renewal deadline for their licenses will be 4 p.m. on Friday, the 22nd of August. Renewal applications must be submitted to the Department of Commerce and Investment either online or at its first floor counter in the Government Administration Building, which is open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Applications received by the deadline will be considered for renewal during the annual liquor licensing session scheduled to take place on the 15th of September. The new license period begins on the 1st of October, 2025. License holders are also advised that licenses expiring on September 30th, 2025 must be renewed at this annual session if they wish to operate for the new licensing period. Licensees are asked to contact the following departments directly to book required inspections. For the Department of Environmental Health, you can find them at DEH Customer Service at gov.ky. For the Cayman Islands Fire Service, particularly as it relates to book your inspection of your, fire systems. You can email them at firesafetyinspections@gov.ky. And for the Port Authority of the Cayman Islands, you can reach them on 2 emails, either cjackson@caymanport.com or dpanton@caymanport.com. You can also pick up the phone and give them a call at 949-2055. So liquor license, persons and holders, persons with music and dancing licenses, all being urged to remember the renewal deadline that is quickly approaching, and we'll be here on the 22nd of August. And again, you want to get your licenses organized and put to bed before then.
Yeah, I do want to say, Mr. Harris, I wanted to bring up this issue. I was contacted about this, and I'm not necessarily prepared to discuss it exhaustively, but the whole issue is about the banks, right? And I want the public to know, for those who are listening, that I've commented on banks before, because I think some of the questions you got to ask yourself, one fundamental one is, who authorized them? Did we have a referendum in the middle of the night at dark 30, as my colleague calls it, and we all voted and no one knows about it, to carry us in a cashless society direction? Because apparently we're going there full speed ahead.
Yep.
And again, this is where, not just on this government, but I criticize, because, we can talk about minimum wage and all these things, but I really think that somebody needs to deal with the banking cartel if you really want to try to deal with, cost of living as well. So if I'm going to be in the United States, for example, paying 2.5%, and down here I'm paying 7 or 8, that's a, what was that, 300 and something percent increase?
Yeah.
Pretty significant. Yeah, just a tad. So I'm just saying.
Cartel's a good word for it.
And I think that you have to understand that, again, this is impacting mortgages, this is impacting loans, which means it's impacting rent, which means that the business that intended to just sell a couple of donuts to make everybody happy now has to increase their price because the loan was too high, and therefore their rent is too high. So it's a major part of cost of living, and I want the public to note, you don't really hear the government saying they're going to do something about this. Well, I had someone who was writing me, not calling their name because I'm not sure they want that, but again, talking about the fact that they show up at their account, and apparently they got like an overdraft situation. Then they've got another account somewhere, and let's just use a hypothetical number that they've got 10 grand in there. And then they go to their bank and then discover that the 10,000 has been withdrawn from their bank to pay the overdraft. Now, this sounds like something, some people might accept that, but I don't think that's right. You can have a mortgage and you could have $1 million sitting in your account. Let's just go to the extreme.
Yeah.
It would have to be you, Harris. Couldn't possibly be me.
Of course. Well,
Harris has $50 million sitting in his account, but has a measly mortgage of $150 grand.
Like because this is a believable scenario.
I want to make it believable. So all I'm saying is Harris got $50 million in his account, and he has a measly mortgage of $150 grand.
Yeah, pocket change.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to tell you. You see, the bank is going to have a certain level of respect for Mr. Harris because he's got $50 million.
You better believe it.
So they're not going to draw out of his $50 million account 2.8 grand to just put on his mortgage because Harris is late. No, they're not going to do that. You see, because first of all, in my humble opinion, they're going to have respect for Mr. Harris, who has all of this money.
That's right.
Oh, well, let's see. We don't want to better call Mr. Harris and just find out what he wants to do.
Perhaps it's just an oversight.
Because
he doesn't quite realize it.
He doesn't realize his payment is due.
Yes.
Maybe we can give him a call and just inform him.
Yeah.
You see, because now they would come to the judicious decision, to realize that, hold on a second, we really don't have the right to pull that from his $50 million savings. You see, because believe it or not, he has a right to make his mortgage go into arrears if he feels to do so, right? Now let's take it even a step further. If we can agree that they're not going to take $2,800 out of your account to pay your mortgage without asking you, well, I think it's kind of fair to say that $150,000 and $50 million is like a fart in the wind, right? Kind of a bit like an overdraft.
Yeah.
You're definitely not going to go and say, hey, I mean, he's got a $150,000 mortgage. It's going in arrears. Let's just take $150,000 out of his $50 million. He's not going to miss it and pay off his mortgage. No, you don't do crap like that.
Right.
And I don't really want to use the word crap, but, I got a substitute.
No, you use it twice.
I want to use another word.
I know.
You don't do.
I know.
So anyway, bottom line is you don't do stuff like that.
Right.
So tell me who out there in the listening public is going to argue with me to say the bank is not going to take $150,000 out of the $50 million that my good friend Harris has in his account and just pay off his mortgage. You're not going to do that. That's nonsense.
Right.
Okay, so tell me now. Tell me now. Somebody's got $10,000 in their bank account. Let's just say, your overdraft is $8,000 or whatever. Who does that? Who goes and just takes out your savings and pay off your overdraft? This is nonsense that, as far as I'm concerned, the bank does. And I'm sure somebody's going to tell me that, there's a fine print here on the contract. I don't really give a whatever what's on the fine print, because there's a lot of things that's in writing. I want people to understand that Hitler was democratically elected.
He was.
Yeah. He actually won it fair and square.
He did.
So just because you put it in law, the government tomorrow they have the majority. Let's just make something clear. The government has the majority, and let's just say something hits them in their head tonight. They could go down tomorrow and say that all blue-eyed children will not be allowed in the Cayman Islands. All Jamaicans shall be caged up. They can do whatever they want. They have the majority. But somewhere in society, we're supposed to say, this isn't right. This is why we're arguing even on the fishing.
Mm-hmm.
I hear you. I know you got the majority, but I don't think that's right.
Yep.
It's only 200 people fishing. That's probably not from here. And I think you're really making a big deal about nothing. It's like, what is it? Storm in a teacup.
Yep.
But I want to say the same thing about this. I don't think banks should be allowed to go to the little guy, because I'm thinking primarily this happens to the little guy. The little guy that doesn't have much money, that you seem to have zero respect for.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure you're not doing it with Dart.
Nope. No. I'm sure you're not doing it with the guy with $50 million. No, you're doing it to the little guy that's a piece of crap. Doesn't mean anything, But in fact, his $10,000 is worth much more than Dart's money. Right? I keep telling people, you know what love is? Love is not a guy that has millions of dollars and gives you $10 to buy lunch. No, love is the guy that only has $10 and splits it with you. Yeah.
Or even lies and tells you he already ate lunch and gives you his last $10.
Yeah.
That's love, okay?
True talk.
So let's just be clear. You're doing it because this is just an average guy, a Caymanian, a piece of crap. What can he do about it? Because if he had $50 million, he might take your butt to court and enforce his rights. So that's why you do it to him.
Well, first he'd move his money, then he'd take your butt to court just for giggles.
Well, he probably wouldn't even move them, and I get your point. But he'd probably take him to court, sue them, and own the bank so he doesn't have to move his money. So you're not going to do it to him, you see. You do it to the average guy out there that really can't enforce his rights. And I want to say this because where do we go to complain about the banks? We already see that nobody in the government seems to have the cojones, tienen los huevos que hacer algo de eso. No one has the cojones to do something about that. No one is saying, listen, we need to sit down and talk. I think 350% interest rates is a little bit high. And then I don't see the need to insure the man, his wife, and his dog. No, I think the equity should be enough. There's nobody defending us with these banks. The banking cartel is allowed to do whatever they want. Then they're getting rid of every Cayman at the front desk. So you got to talk to an ATM machine. And if you have a complaint, you have to call Trinidad, Tobago, Bahamas, or somewhere else in the world. You can't talk to someone here. When are we as Caymanians going to get enough of that? I don't get it. Like, we're like the most passive people on the planet.
True enough.
It's like, what, did you just screw me over? Let me turn the other cheek. I like to be screwed on both sides. Come on. It's like, guys, come on. Am I the only one? Like, are you
That's just about balance.
I hate being screwed on the left and not on the right. Can you do it on both sides? Hey, and tell you what, walk straight up the middle as well, shall we? Come on now, come on.
Yeah.
We need to do something about this, and all I'm saying is this is sort of things that are happening, and it's happening primarily to the average guy. because the average guy does not have the money in this country to enforce his rights. But where do we go when we have a complaint about the banks? There's no one to run to. I don't think you run into the Bankers Association because they're for the bankers, and they're about trying to push and enforce the agenda for the banks. But just like how you can go to OFREG and complain if you have certain issues with utilities, where is the complaint? Where is the OFREG? Where is the ERCO as it relates to the bank? Maybe somebody can call me and tell me that.
Cayman Islands Monetary.
No. This, yeah, I'm glad you raised it. I am glad you raised it. You would think I should be able to go to Cayman Islands Monetary Authority on this. Yes. And they're going to deal with them. No. That's not going to happen either. So we need something that's actually going to be dealing with the banks. And I just wanted to raise this on one of our viewers, listeners, whatever you want to call him or her, on their behalf. Because these are the kind of legitimate problems. And I remember experiencing this very many years ago. This is when Cayman National Bank used to be at the West Wind Building. That's how long ago that was. Yeah. But I really thought that some of these things had stopped, But either way, it still persists. And I just want to highlight it for what it's worth. And I really think that we as Caymanians, we need to voice our opinions. And how can you do that? You can do it by sending text to this program, send it to another program, send it to the Compass. You don't even have to identify yourself, but let the media at least get texts so that some way the voices can reach these persons who are in authority and try to do something about it.
Absolutely. And thank you for that. And thank you to the listener for sharing. Your problems are our problems. Share them with us. It is 29 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock. We got to pause, take a short commercial break, but there'll be more Straight Talk coming up next on Bobo FM.
More Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio coming up. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Bobo 103.1.
Be prepared. The time to prepare for a hurricane is before one occurs. Write down your hurricane plan now. Determine where you will ride out the storm and get your supplies. Be informed. Make a plan. Be prepared. For more information, visit caymanprepared.ky.
We all work hard to one day buy the house of our dreams. Why wouldn't you protect it? With Saxon, you now have the option to get a home insurance quote online. Avoid the waiting in lines and the traffic. Simply log on to saxon.ky and click to get a quote to get started. At Saxon, we pride ourselves on providing our customers with excellent customer service and convenience. So what are you waiting for? Visit saxon.ky today from the comfort of your home or office to get your quote and protect the things you love. Saxon. Smart Insurance.
At Priced Right, spending less on everyday products is easy.
Spend less on office supplies, tools, and automotive products.
Spend less on groceries, fresh produce, and meat.
Spend less on electronics, TVs, and speakers.
Spend less on home furnishings, beauty products, and apparel.
At Priced Right, we believe you can live better for less.
To start saving, visit us at the Airport Center in Georgetown or at Republic's Plaza in West Bay.
For more info, visit pricedright.ky. Live better for less at Priced Right.
We need to talk. Okay. We've noticed you've been going to KFC a lot more than usual lately. And
that's fine. We know you love it.
We just don't understand how you could afford it.
The KFC What a Deal menu starting at just $3. Gives you lots of great choices and value. Available at KFC Baytown Plaza, Shetton Road, and in the Strand. The KFC What a Deal value meals. The deal everyone should know about. Come to KFC and enjoy a variety of tasty choices at surprising prices. KFC, so good.
At Polar Bear Air Conditioning, we believe in helping you to avoid costly mistakes and replacements. That's why we offer a quarterly maintenance program at a discounted price. You'll receive a 10% discount on all repairs, accessories, and services. Priority front-of-the-line customer status, reminders of your service, and no overtime rate for after-hours calls. Why not save money and avoid hassle with Polar Bear Air Conditioning? Need service now? Book our AC special for just $99. Book the next available technician at polarbear.ky. That's polarbear.ky.
When it comes to weekly meal prep, I trust Kirk Market to provide the best value for quality proteins. The butchers at Kirk Market are super helpful. They always slice my steaks perfectly. Kirk Market has everything I need for healthy and flavorful protein-packed meals. From lean cuts of CAB choice beef, tender CAB prime beef, the juiciest pork, and all-natural hormone-free poultry, to their seafood section with everything from fresh local snapper to omega-3 rich salmon. I choose Kirk Market for the highest quality proteins to support my healthy lifestyle. Kirk Market. Eat well, live well, and discover a world of choice.
Across Cayman on FM, online, and on your smart speaker. This is Bobo 103.1, powered by Health Services Authority, committed to caring for you. The views and opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, here's Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And welcome back, Cayman, to more Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM and simulcasting live over YouTube and Facebook. We're your host, Ellio Solomon, myself, Austin Harris, on this glorious TGIF Friday here in studios. The phone lines are open at 745-2626. If you have a thought on any of the topics we've been touching on, most recently addressing the concerns, the legitimate concerns of the banking cartel, whether it be the ludicrous fees that seem to be going up and further up on just about every transaction, or this move towards a cashless society, to some of the otherwise questionable practices that happen every day in otherwise paradise, and asking the legitimate question, who defends us against the banks when your government isn't that person? 745-2626 is the number if you want to join in and be a part of that conversation. We'd love to hear from you. Obviously, it's Friday, and we try to keep things loosey-goosey. And whilst we're having some fun, we're still got to remind ourselves that we do have a serious program here in which we're trying to run. So we'll mix in a little bit of the serious with a little bit of the fun. Anywhere else you want to take us?
So that's like a fun Friday.
It is a fun Friday. Ooh, look, a play on words, a fun Friday. Now we got to find a good sponsor.
That's teamwork, buddy.
That is teamwork. We're the government. We're here to help.
We're here to help.
We're here to help.
Fun Friday.
Fun Friday. So yesterday, going back on the serious note for a second as I fumble with my cough lozenge. Yesterday we talked about the good and bad news for parents who are waiting for summer to end and school to start so they have, a return to peace and normalcy. The downside, of course, is this fantastic traffic-free roads that we've been enjoying since about, early July will come to an end on the 27th of August. Another issue is developing at a major choke point area of Georgetown that could only add to the traffic chaos. In an article that has appeared once again
I saw that, yeah,
in all of the media houses, but one we'll pick from. It says, a new Grand Harbor project could increase traffic chaos. Let me just share a few bars of this media report, if I may. It reads, an application by the Pearl Limited for a new major mixed-use development, which will include 74 apartments, including 128 bedrooms, on the site of the old Black Pearl Skate Park in Grand Harbor, went before the Central Planning Authority this week. However, the project requires a revised traffic impact assessment, as it could exacerbate traffic congestion in one of Grand Cayman's most congested areas. The developer of the $55 million project is also seeking a variance on a canal setback, which the Department of Environment has warned would be a bad idea given the potential for flooding in that area. The documents on the CPA agenda reveal a number of concerns relating to the project, particularly the impact of a large development at this location on the traffic situation. The NRA said the development significantly increased the risk of traffic incidents, such as congestion-related collisions, non-standard sight distance considerations, and an increase in traffic conflict points. With more development in the area expected, traffic conditions will continue to be stressed under the current road configuration and intersection geometry unless further road improvements are made. The NRA therefore asked the developer to conduct a traffic impact study. But when the developer submitted the work in May, according to the NRA, it fell far short of what was needed. And as such, the National Roads Authority has recommended to the developer that they go back to the drawing board and come back to them when they're serious. When you really want to have a proper conversation, we'll be here waiting on you. But for right now, this thing that you've presented ain't going to cut the mustard. And I think that's, well, it's an interesting conversation because arguably, you know, one can argue that all of the development that goes on across the Cayman Islands, but, you know, Grand Harbor is the latest in a long line of new developments in that area that have resulted in, as you will recall, a road that originally started as single carriageway, then double carriageway, now triple carriageway, and almost, what do you call six when you got 3 lanes in both directions? You know, I don't know, sextuplets? I don't know. A lot of road. But this has come about by, of course, the congestion from that immediate area, the residential area of, you got Selkirk Drive, you got Grand Harbor, you got the housing behind Grand Harbor. Arguably now you've got Harbor Walk, which is the new plaza next to the traditional Grand Harbor that also has residential housing included in it and corporate office space. Across the street, I can't remember the name of the condos across the street, but there's 2 of them, both on the water, arguably adding.
You're talking about the Indigo.
There's Indigo, and then there's the newer one next to it. I want to say Vila or Avida or something like. I don't know what it's called. I don't want to.
Across from Hurley's?
There's across from Hurley's, but there's also across from Hurley's and down a bit because I think isn't it the Indigo, the one that's down a bit, and then the one across the street is something else.
The Indigo is a new looking one.
Okay.
Yeah. Recently, I think that was kind of during COVID time that was being worked on.
All right. Yeah.
And then just to the left of that or further east is an older one, which is still attractive, but kind of more of a Mexican kind of style.
Yeah. They've got very lush landscaping at the very front of it, whatnot. You can see.
But that one's been there for quite a while.
You can see the gym, you know, from the roadways. But all of these things have contributed to the traffic congestion in this location. But again, it has also been exacerbated by the fact that it's a major choke point for vehicles coming out of the eastern districts before they connect on to the Linford-Pearson Highway. So they're coming down in 3 lanes, having to connect to a road that now is 2 lanes, but maybe by Christmas will also be 3 lanes going into Linford-Pearson. You've already got the concerns coming from the Selkirk-Waltler Drive Red Bay area folks who, because of the new road configurations, once upon a time you could come out of Selkirk Drive and choose to either turn right or left. Now residents are left with one choice only. You have to turn left. You have to go around the roundabout in order to head back west into town. So that has been affected. You've got the development of the Grand Harbor proper, and of course the Grand Harbor, I don't even know what they want to call it. There's a road that sits between Selkirk Drive and Grand Harbor that is, you know, residents on one side want it because they think it would certainly ease their traffic.
Isn't that like what they call this little Bimini Drive or something?
Yes, that's exactly what it's called. Thank you. I couldn't remember the name, but that issue has also been ongoing for some time.
Yeah.
You know, and again, since Harbor Walk...
Tough decisions, Austin.
Tough decisions. And since Harbor Walk came about, arguably that's where because Harbor Walk itself also has, you know, a road in front, and arguably the new lane that's just been paved from, I think, Line Center all the way up through the Grand Harbor Roundabout was introduced to quell and deal with that traffic flow problem. So this Pearl and its new development is only going to add to the stresses that area has already been under for some time. And I think the NRA is making a very good point. You know, just This is kind of the example of, we just solved one problem and now you're adding two more to the list, It just becomes part of a never-ending cycle. And again, this is where I think, to Mario Ebanks' point, our guest and, regular listener, regular contributor, this is where a national development plan has to come in. If we do not see the connectivity between more and more development and the stresses they're going to cause to infrastructure, in this case, in particular traffic, then we are only going to be continuing to repeat this vicious cycle over and over and over again.
Okay, so let's think out loud, right? Let us think out loud. I mean, after all, it's just you and I in here, Austin.
Quite right, indeed, especially on a Friday.
5:42. Don't even have a drink.
Don't even have a drink.
Okay, so
speaking of which, my glass is empty. Good point.
Yeah. So but first of all, I imagine that they're building just apartments and not necessarily any sort of retail spaces, etc. I'm inferring.
At the moment, that's the case. But again, when you see the overall plan, they're going to set back the canal, so they're pushing the water more in the center.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. Right now, it's just 74 apartments and 128
that we know about.
We know about.
Now, as a person who have built an apartment or two, you got to, just like with anything else, but you've got to go, and the residents in that surrounding area, I would imagine at least up to 1,000 feet, have a right to give their opinion as to whether they think it should be approved or not.
Mm-hmm.
And in this particular case, one could argue that they have some good grounds for not approving it, right? Because if say, I just really don't think we can handle the traffic. That's one argument. We've made that one, or we've highlighted it. Let's put that aside. We'll come back to that one. And here's the next one. Well, what's the zoning, right? Has government allowed the zoning to accommodate such a thing? Is it high residential? Is it commercial, etc.? Because if it is, then why are we why does it have that zoning when in fact you can't accommodate it? Right?
Quite right.
And I remember, and let's put that aside. Another challenge is that I remember when we were in the government, there was the whole issue when the UK wanted us to put on the tax. That we discussed this whole issue about a community enhancement fee.
Yep.
And even before that, I think that there was a infrastructure fee or something that was for buildings. And I really want to know where all this has gone, right? Because on the zoning part, can it be fair, Austin, and let's take it down again. I'd like to take it down to the family unit. Can it be fair that Austin purchases a piece of land but isn't allowed to build a house on it because we couldn't possibly accommodate potentially 1, 2, or 3 more people driving on the road? Mm-hmm. Well, what's the purpose of you having the land if you can't utilize it? I think that would be a case where somehow society, government has fed you an injustice, because surely you want to have the land, you want to use it. And I say that about the person, whether they want to build one house, one apartment, or 74, or whatever that magic number is that you're talking about. So there needs to be, and again, I don't know when it's going to take politicians to wake up. I've been talking about this at least since 2017. We need a public transportation. I think it should be something like a monorail, and I will stress that I think it should be a monorail because for many reasons, it would allow us to be able to get the water out of there and stop digging up roads. We could accommodate electricity. And at the same time, we have something that's definitely in the air, that's not going to be subject too much to the winds and the water that might flood the country, as we saw during Hurricane Ivan. A myriad of different reasons to go that route. But when exactly is that going to happen? When is that going to happen? Because when are we going to realize that you can't possibly keep building roads, right? You can't continue to do it. And I want people to know, I want the politicians to know, as well as everyone else, you don't make a change in the world by doing what everybody else does, okay? You actually have to try something different. Try something a little different. And all I'm saying is, until you can start busing, because I can tell you right now, that's the times that I got to go pick up blocks or go do something with construction. If I had good public transportation, I wouldn't be driving. I mean, it's a pain right now. You know, you're spending more time just sitting in traffic. I would also like more sidewalk and more trees so I could walk too. Mm-hmm. But we need to start doing something. And again, this is where I go insofar as the elected officials, as a general thing, that if we look at the process, the cycle, and what it encourages quick placation for the general public. Show me something that, like the magic 100 days in office. Right. Say how good that sounds, like it's Christmas. My first 100 days in office. And then the other one is, again, minimum wage, because that is just easy to do, as opposed to getting up and buckling down and saying, this is going to take me a year and a half, but give me some time. I'm coming out with results, real results. No, we don't want that, because it's not quick, it's not easy, and probably doesn't have enough emotions in it. But I can tell you that I don't think it takes a blind man can see it, that you cannot continue with the road building and trying to say that somehow that's going to get us out of the traffic. Come on, we need public transportation. And here we're talking about someone, I have no idea who this is, by the way, just in case somebody thinks I know. I have no idea who's building this. All I'm going to say is, I would imagine if they're building, it is the government to determine whether that zone accommodates it. And let's just say the zone accommodates it by saying it's high residential, which means you can build apartments. So you allowed a person to buy a high residential area that allows them to build the apartments, and they're not exceeding it by any amount that you claim. And then now it's not being approved because what? It's a traffic problem? Whose problem is it with the traffic problem exactly? Who's the traffic problem? Is that my problem? I mean, maybe I'm just not going to be the popular guy, but I don't see how that becomes their problem necessarily. You said I could build this on it. See, look, it says high residential. And so bottom line is that government has an obligation, and if we need to be charging some infrastructure fees and we need to be charging certain money to get things done, then let's do that. Let's say to the developer, maybe I need an additional $20 million from you, which of course, if you stop giving duty concessions, you might have that too. But let's charge and do whatever we have to do, and either say, listen, the project can't go forward, and here's why it can't go forward, or go ahead and deal with the infrastructure issues. And I don't know, like I said, where is that infrastructure fee? I have no idea. But I don't see how at the end of the day you can have certain businesses, certain people doing things that at the end of the day causes certain things to happen, in this particular case, traffic, and there not be some way to deal with it. I don't know. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on the matter.
No, thank you very much for raising it. And again, I keep bringing us back to the development plan. These issues and many more are why it's important for us to engage this conversation of a development plan. You asked the question, what is the zoning in this particular area of Grand Harbor? Well, again, there was a document that was published, I think, the Strategic Plan for Review of the 1997 Development Plan. That was published in May 2018 by Plan Cayman. And in it, it shared what was, by the way, a 146-page document, but for some ministers, it had pictures, so that made it easier. But it did show the area in which we're referring to was both low and medium density residential. But that's
what it is?
That's what the area was in the original 1977 development plan, and arguably, because we haven't made much progress in terms of updating that, it's apparently may have been the same in 1997, and arguably, by the time we get to 2027, it's still the same.
Yeah.
Which is why, again, these things don't happen in a vacuum. Today we're talking about Grand Harbor. Tomorrow we'll be talking
somewhere else. Yeah.
Tomorrow we'll be talking about 7 Mile Beach. After that, we'll be talking about, Bodden Town proper and all the way into the eastern districts. But until we appreciate that we are 72 square miles surrounded by water, limited land mass, and though there are efforts, arguably, committed plans to develop every square inch of property in the Cayman Islands, as if we don't have other examples of why this is a bad idea, a.k.a. Bermuda, then, we need to plan our future. Whether we're in the development space, we talk about, again, the difficulty in finding housing. We're referring to, of course, rental apartments, arguably. But you add to the housing dilemma of homes for Caymanians, first-time homeowners. Every year, every government administration, they increase the duty threshold for first-time Caymanian home buyers and homeowners, arguably because the cost of land and buying homes is consistently going up. Right now, I think we're in $1 million territory, which, would be considered, right, us, your first home. dude, have you seen where property prices are taking us in Cayman? That's all that's available.
Yeah.
First home, third home, it don't really matter. But without a plan, then we are going to continue to spin our wheels. Without a plan, we're going to have these moments of, well, why is traffic my problem? You sold me the land. You told me I could go ahead and make the development. Now you're giving me the red tape?
Mm-hmm.
To your point, really, is it really the developer's fault? We do not have a plan that encompasses all of the concerns.
No, it's a mess. Let me just give you an example. The road where I live on it's a private road.
Yep.
Okay, so the question is, you've allowed this developer to sell all these properties, and it was a private road. So who takes care of the road exactly? Mm-hmm. And then you have government that comes in. It is a mess. And at the end of the day, if you're going to do that, and it's supposed to be the private road, then where are the obligations on this individual and or his estate to maintain the road?
Yep.
And to keep the infrastructure proper, right? It's a very simple question. Then you have a house down the road from you, and you say, who built this piece of crap? And, it's temporary because we're allowing him to go ahead and build a house. And then 6 years later, it's still there. Mm-hmm. It's like, okay, I thought this was temporary. Well, it kind of is temporary, but we can't move it now because it's gone beyond the 3 years. Yeah, but who let it go beyond the 3 years? You did. It's like, boy. Anyway, all I'm simply saying is this to me isn't really, rocket science. And I can tell anyone, and I don't know who has a different argument. I'd love to hear it. We can't possibly keep building the roads. You can't now go and say tomorrow government's just going to be by force acquisition buying some more land so that we can put 4 lanes in by Hurley's rather than 3. It's like at some point in time, you have to see that there's a lot of people, and if you talk about cost of living, that would be one way of dealing with cost of living as well, is actually creating a very good, healthy, productive, low-cost transportation.
Yep.
I would use it. I mean, I tell you, I'm spending $800 a month on gas.
Sure.
Right? You think that I'm going to have a problem to get up and spend a couple of dollars every day? What is that amounting to? That's amounting to just about $25 every day. I don't think I have a problem to get up and say, hey, let me get $10 to take the same trip.
Right.
Even if that's what it is. It's like, come on. So we need to deal with some public transportation. And I am befuddled to understand how we end up in a situation where you provide the zoning and now the person goes to build something that the zoning allows him or her to build. And now there seems to be an issue. If there are fees that are necessary, if there's certain infrastructure that's required, then have the developer pay for it, then that's fine. But I don't know.
Well, it just takes us back, or it just reminds us that, whilst, to my colleague's point earlier this week, that as far as the government is concerned, the National Coalition for Caymanian Government, don't expect anything to begin for them in terms of leadership work until 2026.
The world doesn't begin until 2026.
World does not begin until 2026. They're just there staycationing whilst they come up with their plans. But whether it be a planning, a development planning document, a national development plan, whether it be a question of public transportation, whether it be a question of, how much is too much in terms of, what land prices are going. And of course, to your point, you cannot continue to build roads to, get yourself out of the traffic problem. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of areas that have been identified that need work and attention. We don't need to think about it any longer. And again, I take us back to the campaign trail. All of these issues were certainly raised and talked about at various, if they weren't at big national rallies, they were certainly talked about in the community meetings. Obviously, things like cost of living and the number of factors involved in that. All of those things were discussed. And from the standpoint of politicians who were at the time vying for your vote, not only did they indicate that they were very familiar with the situation, but more to the point, they had a plan to fix it. Well, elections ended April 30th. We're now almost into August, and we have no plan. We have a government with no strategic direction, but we're told maybe if we wait even longer to October, November-ish, we might have an idea as to what that plan will be. But even then, that plan will only be words because nothing will even begin to happen until 2026. And there only is a 4-year government term. And believe you me, for those perhaps who are there for the first time, you thought watching your children grow went fast. That 4-year government cycle goes even faster. One day you blink and realize, what? It's over that quickly? Then you throw in a pandemic in the mix just because, well, you were bored at the time, and it goes even shorter. So, you know, the opportunities we have to fix some of the longer-standing issues that didn't start yesterday is waning. It really is.
How much time do we have?
In this case, you have 2 minutes.
All right, I can read a quick text. Good evening, gentlemen of Straight Talk. You are right. There is no consumer/customer protection from all the poor service, high interest rates, numerous fees, unreasonable collateral and documentary requirements, etc., that the commercial banks demand of customers in Cayman. It seems that SEMA, the monetary authority, has no interest in this task and is asleep at the wheel as far as this is concerned. Is there not a way of requiring SEMA to be more assertive in this, or can another organization be charged with that responsibility? Please check. All righty. Well, like I said, it's some serious nonsense that's going on out there. And, you know, it's like even when they get up and they talk about, well, you know, I mean, you go to the bank, like, what are you going to do, read the contract? Are you really going to read the contract? What are you going to do? Can we make a modification here on page 3, provision 6? Get the hell out of here.
Yes, right. Exactly.
Sign or get the hell out of here.
Leave. You want the money or not?
The cartel does what the cartel does.
Right. It is 59 minutes past the hour of 5 o'clock, and it's that time again. We have to pause, take a short commercial break, and check in with the top of the hour news brought to you by our news partner, the BBC. But the conversation here on Straight Talk continues at least for another half hour. The phone lines are open, 745-2626. We'll be right back for more Straight Talk on Bobo 103.1.
Bobo.
Welcome to our newsroom here in central London. We place ourselves here at a little desk right in the thick of things.
OS from the BBC.
We can catch the very latest news from our colleagues, not just in this enormous room, but also from our colleagues around the world.
I'm in the room where they're treating children.
This is a combat zone.
The situation after the typhoon is very complicated.
It was a very tense situation.
OS from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
BBC News.
BBC News. World news from the BBC.
Violent clashes. Thick black smoke.
A tremendous legal victory.
Crucial elections.
Destructive winds.
A search and recovery operation.
A race against time.
An imminent threat. Flying a drone over a rival team's training session.
Whatever is happening, wherever it's happening, catch up with the latest news bulletins from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM.
The BBC's From Our Own Correspondent.
In today's Russia, no one is allowed anywhere near the political stage if they pose a serious challenge to Vladimir Putin.
Stories and reflections from our reporters around the world.
There is a major sense of insecurity here. More people are coming in from Sudan every day.
From Our Own Correspondent from the BBC.
The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo FM. This is Bobo 103.1, powered by Health Services Authority.
At Health Services Authority, they are committed to caring for you. They are Cayman's largest and longest-standing healthcare provider, offering the most comprehensive range of inpatient, outpatient, and public health services at 9 different locations across all 3 islands.
Across Cayman on 103.1 FM, online, and on your smart speaker. The home of the BBC World Service. This is Bobo 103.1.
BBC World News, I'm Tom Dewsbury. Hello. A former US Special Forces colonel who was hired by the US and Israeli-backed group distributing food in Gaza has told the BBC he's never witnessed such indiscriminate brutality against civilians. Anthony Aguilar worked alongside the Israeli military and American contractors at sites run by the Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. He told the BBC what he thought about the way the aid distribution sites had been set up.
My professional opinion of how the sites were established was what I would describe as amateur. Inexperienced, untrained, no idea of how to conduct operations of this magnitude. That would be my most benign assessment. In my most frank assessment, I would say that they're criminal.
He said he resigned after witnessing desperate crowds being attacked with mortar rounds and tank fire. The British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is facing growing pressure to recognise Palestinian statehood. In a video message, he said Britain would do everything possible to airdrop aid into Gaza and evacuate Palestinian children requiring urgent medical assistance. Here's Damien Grammaticus.
He described images of starvation and desperation in Gaza as utterly horrifying. But many MPs want him to go much further. 220, including 131 Labour MPs, have signed a letter arguing that recognising a Palestinian state now would have a significant impact. Sir Keir said he was working with allies to secure a ceasefire and a lasting peace. He stressed that recognition of a Palestinian state had to be part of that process, but could only come as one element in a wider plan to bring lasting security for both Palestinians and Israelis.
Cambodia's ambassador to the United Nations says his country wants an immediate and unconditional ceasefire with Thailand after 2 days of deadly cross-border clashes. The ambassador was speaking after a closed-door meeting of the Security Council in New York. There's been no comment from the Thai side. Donald Trump's in Scotland for a 5-day private visit. The US president's primarily visiting 2 of his golf resorts and dedicating a new course in honour of his late mother, who was Scottish. Mr Trump also confirmed he'd meet the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer. Our North America editor is Sarah Smith.
I understand they will be discussing the dire situation in Gaza and also talking about Ukraine, on top of what Donald Trump says the main purpose of these talks is, which is to refine the US-UK trade deal. It was signed in a great hurry a couple of months ago, and not every one of the finer details had actually been really ironed out. So they've got quite a lot of work to do on that, which may be easier than a difficult conversation about Gaza, where Donald Trump blames Hamas for not distributing food and says that they're the people who've walked away from the table talking about a ceasefire.
The latest world news from the BBC. President Trump has again denied being told his name appeared in files related to the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. This puts him at odds with reports in the US media, quoting White House officials that the Attorney General Pam Bondi had informed the president his name was in the Epstein files. Jeffrey Epstein's accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, was questioned by Justice Department officials for a second day on Friday. Jeffrey Epstein died in a New York prison cell 6 years ago. France's highest courts annulled an arrest warrant for the former Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad. It was issued as part of an investigation into chemical attacks during Syria's civil war. The court ruled the warrant was invalid as presidential immunity covered even alleged war crimes. But the court's president, Christophe Soulard, said fresh warrants could still be issued.
L'Assemblée plénière l'annule.
The plenary assembly cancels the arrest warrant. However, it points out that since Mr. Bashar al-Assad is no longer in office, new arrest warrants have or could be delivered against him for actions which may constitute war crimes or crimes against humanity.
Mr. Assad denies involvement in the 2013 attacks on Douma and eastern Ghouta, which killed some 1,400 people. Hundreds of anti-government demonstrators have protested in the Tunisian capital on the 4th anniversary of President Kais Saied's power grab, which saw parliament suspended and ruled by decree. Marching in Tunis under the slogan, "The Republic is a large prison," they said the country had descended into authoritarianism, with mass arrests and politically motivated trials silencing the opposition. Many politicians, lawyers and journalists have fled Tunisia. The British actor Michael Ward has been charged with rape and sexual assault. Mr. Ward, who appeared in the critically acclaimed Netflix series Top Boy, as well as several movies, denies the charges. The alleged offences relate to one woman, and they are reported to have taken place in January of 2023. From London, that's your very latest BBC World News.
Opinions expressed on Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio do not necessarily reflect or represent the views of Stingray Media, its staff, or contributors. Callers to the program accept full responsibility for the views expressed. The show host and affiliates are not liable for any statements made or any harm claimed. All callers to the program indemnify Straight Talk from all claims. Offensive, defamatory, or unlawful content will not be tolerated. Be a part of the conversation by calling 745-2626. Now, Straight Talk with Austin and Ellio on Bobo 103.1.
And welcome back, K-Man, to more Straight Talk here on Bobo 103.1 FM and simulcasting live over Facebook and YouTube. We're your host, Ellio Solomon, myself, Austin Harris, as the time flips over to 7 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock here in the studio, giving us about 23 minutes before we have to wrap it up for this evening as well. Moving into our final segment.
All things come to an end, they say.
All good things must come
So
to
I got to say it in the spirit of transparency, another scandalous comment.
Okay.
My colleague is arguing, ladies and gentlemen. He didn't like the fact that I mentioned he had 50 million. He says, you're a damn liar. You know it's 52.
Come on, get it right. Get the facts right, for goodness sakes. I worked hard for that.
I worked hard for that 52 million, Ellio.
Especially that extra 2. You know, tell the world that's what it is. Yeah, and then we woke up from that dream and going, oh, wouldn't it be nice, only if.
And some of the men out there are saying, okay, what difference does that make? Hey,
hey.
You and I have been there.
2 million is 2 million, dude. I'm just saying.
Well, I was saying you and I have been there. We know the difference that little 2 can make.
That's right. Quite right.
Don't rob a man a little 2. You know?
That's what he got. That's what he got. That matters. All right.
2 make a difference in the world, my brother.
2 midday. It's just 2 more than you had yesterday. That's all I'm going to say. So we were chatting a little bit about, who polices the banks, and, who looks out for the little man. I suggested, well, maybe it might be SEMA, but a writer to the program says, as long as we are off the gray list, then SEMA does not care. Again, we do appreciate your remarks. The phone lines are open. 745-2626 is the number. If you want to call in and add your voice to our ongoing conversation between friends on a Friday evening, or if you certainly talking isn't your thing, you want to comment from the safety of your home, then by all means you can reach out to us on our WhatsApp number. That number to call or to write to 928-2562, and you can either send us a traditional WhatsApp text message or maybe even a WhatsApp audio note. You off? Nope, still. Yeah. I turned your microphone off there so that you can have privacy in your side.
I apologize, but it
happens.
There's a situation going on that somebody had to contact me. Not that I can leave the studio right now.
Needed you rather urgent like.
Yeah.
And there's a fire that needs putting out, and he was like, well, break out the marshmallows. I'm going to be at least 23 more minutes.
It's kind of one of those like, your RAM is loose.
The last thing does sound like a serious problem.
The last thing you need is a loose RAM.
That's right. Well, it won't be the RAM that's loose. I tell you what, he's going now neighborhood to neighborhood. You have not been occupying his time clearly as much as he would like, Ellio. He's had to stretch his legs.
Yeah, I think I know which one this is. One of those little ones that I have locked away in one little pen there to...
That'll do it.
Yeah.
That'll do it, They will rebel once they get the sniff of fresh, free air.
Yeah.
They are going to go walkabout, as the Australians would otherwise say.
Either way, we were having a good discussion. Once again, our minds went to the gutters.
We did.
But it's Austin that took us there.
It did. It was me. I did it. I said the wrong thing.
Believe it on me.
I said 2, and apparently 2 is a dirty, dirty word.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I was watching something on social media today, and I don't know how I missed it. But you remember those RC cars, those radio control cars that
I do.
Used to be all the rage at one time.
Yeah, and the boats and the planes.
And the planes. And the planes too, exactly. I remember the boats and the cars. I never did get to see some of the planes doing their action, but anyway, I saw a little, I guess, call it a nostalgia moment with, and the caption was, "Even grown men experience the thrill of racing." RC cars, that is. So apparently there was RC racing going on in the parking lot of our favorite hardware store, A.L. Thompson's, and I guess it would have been during the closing wee hours of the night when there's nobody shopping. But there they are, a bunch of grown men playing with their toys, as we do.
In the parking lot of Ale Thompson.
In the parking lot of Ale Thompson.
This happens.
And they were having a race. You know, it was the NASCAR of RC racing. I'm sorry I missed it. It looked like it was a ball.
Well, you know, men got their toys.
Men do have their toys, and we like playing with those toys no matter how old we get. Hey, it's a simple life. They're not drinking. They're not on the road causing trouble. You know, they're just having hours and hours of harmless fun.
You remember those gifts you used to get for Christmas, right? Like you had to put a warship together. It took forever.
Yes.
It's like how to kill a kid. How to kill a kid's mood for Christmas. It was like 1,000 pieces.
You know, my
it's like
brother,
something was always missing.
My brother was he loved those gifts.
Yeah.
And he was really good at putting them together. And you know, he would do it. I remember now that you bring it up, he would start it. And it was one of those kind of activities that he and my dad used to enjoy together. So it was a good father-son bonding time. But he would put these planes together, then he would hang it from string and let them sort of, you know, quasi-fly around his room. And, of course, me being the older brother and a real pain in the you-know-what when I was younger, I'm still sorry, baby brother. I really do. I think about that all the time, and I was a terrible
I don't
big
think
brother.
much has changed, Austin.
I know a lot has changed, big boy. A lot has changed. I'm living in...
I mean about you being a pain in the butt.
Oh! Well, no, that hasn't changed.
The only thing probably changed now is your brother. You probably can't beat up on him too much now. 'Cause he's pretty big.
Well, he's not big, but he's strong. Very, very strong he is. But no, we don't have those conversations and those thoughts anymore. Like I said, I'm more interested in hugging my baby brother because I was a terrible big brother growing up. But anyway, back to the model planes for a minute. So he would hang them in his room, and of course, big brother would come around and I want to play with these things. So I got to take them off the string. And of course, you know, I'm just reminded of the unnecessary fights and arguments that were held in my childhood over me being less mature than I perhaps should have been. But now that you bring it up, I never had the patience to put it together myself, but my brother did. And again, had I not probably played with it as much as would not like, he probably would still have
them.
Those planes available for display.
It's all part of life, though. You know, the thing is, though, you see, is that we want to try to remove some of the struggles and sacrifices that we have in life, but that's kind of what makes us special, right? So you being a bit of a pain in the butt probably taught him a lot, how to deal with these authority figures that are pains in the butt, even when it's a bit emotional. So, you know, look at it as a life lesson.
A life lesson. It might have been the reason why he got so entrenched in the gym at a young age, and now he continues to do it because he got really strong. And maybe in his mind, it was like, go ahead. I dare you. I dare you. One of these days, you're going to mess up and say something to me.
Yeah, like when your parents gave you that spanking, and you look at them and go, one day, I'm going to be big and you're going to be small.
That's right.
And that actually happens.
Speaking of my brother, I mean, again, someone who can literally save things, and we use the model airplanes,
but he saved everything.
Had I not been me, he probably would still have them today. So that's on me. I apologize profusely, little brother. But I bought him when I first started to earn and get my first paycheck. I bought him a game station. Now, persons who are gamers, the young people, probably will have no idea what I'm talking about. No, it's not the original Atari, though we had one of those and played ping pong back and forth. But I got him an original Sega Genesis, and that's Sega Genesis was the precursor to the PlayStations that is out there today. Now you got PlayStation 5 and 6 and your Xbox and whatnot. This was the progenitor to all of that. But, and this is going back 35 years easy. Would you believe if you visit my brother's home today, in his bedroom, he has the exact same original Sega Genesis game console, and it works. He has the original games he got, and he sometimes plays those original games. Talk about...
And I'll bet you.
That's impressive.
I'll bet you, amongst other things, he sits there and says, you know, I got this from my big brother.
I hope he does. I hope he does. You know, that'll make up for all the
And then he
other
says,
times that I was less than the brother I should have been.
yeah, there you
So there you have it.
He holds on to it. He remembers you.
He does. But he is a saver, and again, I admire those sort of qualities. I don't have such qualities, mind you. But then again, I was never quite of a, I used to be the kind of guy that would be, every 5 years or so, I'd have a major cleanup. If I haven't seen it, used it, or thought about it in 5 years, and all of a sudden stumble on it, it must be trash. It's got to go. And again, some of those things that you got rid of, you look back on and go, really? They'd be worth something today. The comic book collection alone would be worth, I don't know, a couple of bucks at least. But anyway, the things we look back on as we get older in life, and as the years, they continue to add up. 745-2626. 17 minutes past the hour of 6 o'clock as my voice continues to fail. I think I do the majority of my talking between 4:30 and 6:30 in the evening. And that's why the cough always seems it's good at first, and then it starts to deteriorate the further along we go.
Yeah.
So, but that's all right. That is life.
I'm sorry. I'm a little distracted with this back and forth on the news thingamajig. I told you.
You're in high demand right now.
You're
There's a fire, and you really need to wrap up the show.
It's something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
but anyway,
I hope you get it sorted, buddy.
We're not worried about that. We're not worried about that.
Good deal.
So either way, 6. What is it in the studio here?
It is 18 minutes past
6:18 in the studio.
Yes, sir. It is.
All right. So what else? What other topic are we going to have? Let me look here. There was some. I wanted to send out some birthday greetings. I noticed that on Facebook.
Do that.
A couple of people had some birthdays.
Do that.
Let me see if I can find them. Hold on. Who was it? Who was it that I saw that I said, hey, I got to wish them happy birthday?
Wish them a happy birthday.
No, it's gone from my screen. Harris.
Don't you hate it?
I wished them happy birthday already, but I got to see.
Well, while you look for that, we were talking about good news and things to, add to your calendar. This one, I read this article in our favorite caymanindependent.com, and there was a particular quote that I figured would resonate with you. Let's see if I picked it right. It begins, the Cayman Islands Financial Services Conference Spectrum will feature keynote addresses from the Chief Justice, Margaret Ramsey Hale, and Premier Andre Ebanks. The full-day event that takes place at the Kimpton Seafire Resort and Spa on the 8th of October is expected to draw regulators, professionals, and innovators to discuss financial service industry trends. In a Cayman Finance press release issued on the 21st of July, founder Paul Biles said, Spectrum fosters dialogue between stakeholders to promote thought leadership and industry growth. Spectrum brings together regulators, standard-setting bodies, financial services professionals, and others to discuss current and emerging trends, Biles said. Our aim is to promote thought leadership and support the continued development of the industry in a positive, solution-focused environment. Chief Justice Ramsey Hale, who will be speaking for the first time at Spectrum, will highlight the judiciary's role in shaping the industry, while Premier Ebanks, a regular since the event's inception as Minister of Financial Services and Commerce, is expected to deliver the keynote address. But I saw this article in the Cayman Independent, the business section, and I think what really drew me to it was, again, the statement from Paul Biles that, it's seeking to draw and encourage thought leadership, and being persons like us who like to think a bit more than we talk, thought this was a conference that might be right up your alley. Now, it'll be on the subject of financial services. Some may call it a bit dry, but hey, you don't get between 50 and then to 52 million.
That's right.
Without thinking about it and, being able to recognize a few trends.
Without a level of dryness.
With a level of
things happen. I don't want to end the week. I don't want to end the week.
You can transform any conversation, can't you?
You keep slipping into these things.
Oh, here you go again.
You see, I do it without even thinking. It's then, like I said, it's that too.
It's gotta be Friday.
It's that too that's very important.
Gotta be Friday.
So listen. This is in the last remaining couple of minutes. I'm saying here, Caymanian Employment Minister Michael Miles has said he intends to make sure all returning local graduates are able to get the work they want.
That's a big promise. What'd you say? It'd be funny if you didn't read it from a recognized source.
I don't see the quotation marks there, but please tell me that this particular media house got it wrong. You know, either way, get the work they want.
Wow.
Underline that.
Yeah.
When they come home and are no longer passed over for permit holders. Each year, the Cayman Islands invests more than $30 million in scholarships supporting hundreds of young Caymanians as they pursue higher education, often abroad, with the goal of strengthening the national workforce. However, the current system is not supporting these students when they return. Miles has said many report difficulties finding employment that aligns with their qualifications, or worse, are unable to find work at all. Some come home to low-paying or entry-level positions, despite holding degrees and international experience. At the same time, the jobs they are looking for are being filled by work permit holders. The issue has sparked renewed debate over how to better connect returning graduates with local job opportunities and ensure that the Cayman Islands' long-term investments in education is matched by corresponding support in the labor market. We're spending boatloads of money sending our young people overseas, Miles told CNS after a recent press briefing. I don't want to hear that we don't have qualified Caymanians when we've spent years preparing them. We just have to give them the opportunity. His goal is not just to raise wages, but to break down the barriers that have long kept qualified Caymanians, especially young people and returning students, from securing meaningful employment in the Cayman Islands. Now, of course, you know, this article goes on, but I really don't even want to comment. But, you know, again, I hear that, and I can see where that, again, is emotionally appealing, and there's some person that are desperate for, something, for some hope that something will happen. But I am keenly interested to see these things achieved. That's all I'm going to say. I'm keenly interested, because it is definitely something we should all be aiming for. But I just believe that some of these promises are probably going to backfire on the good minister. But again, it remains to be seen. All I can say is I wish him the best of luck, because I would love to know that all these people coming home from school that would get the jobs that they want.
Yeah, that's a big statement to make.
Yeah, not even the jobs they need, but the jobs that they want.
And again, you know, it's like we've been discussing for the past month. You know, there's a lot of talk floating around this town right now, and a lot of that talk, arguably, you know, certainly appealing to the masses. But talk is cheap.
Mm-hmm.
When the rubber starts to hit the road with some of the, plans going forward, the legislation amendments that are going to accomplish these things, let's see some more of those. Give us, some firm indication as to what these plans of yours actually look like on paper. But so far, again, we're to use a big word, we're placating the public with feel-good commentary. But really, can we achieve these things? Be great if we could, and certainly we're rooting for you, buddy. We really are. But not being too big believers in glittering generalities, as one once upon a time labeled it. We want to see a bit more meat on the bones on some of these. Otherwise, again, big talk. To your point.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just think about the practicality. Like, again, I keep using the floating bed example. It looks so alien. It looks so nice. I mean, everybody would love to have one. It's actually how we're going about achieving it. That's going to be the interesting thing.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's somebody out there right now that wants to come back and they've got their degrees and they want to work and get a particular position in the medical services. What exactly are you doing? How are you saying and accomplish that? And the statement doesn't almost seems to be saying, I put you in the process, I put you in the conveyor belt.
No.
We're
going to get the jobs that you want.
Yeah. I don't know. Honestly, I don't want to talk about it because it's like I feel like I'm just ragging on the guy, but it's like, tell me that media house didn't quote the minister correctly. Because it's one thing to say that I'm going to make sure that every Kenyan gets the opportunity to work in order to be able to achieve that job. That's even a slightly different thing. But I think the argument goes you should underpromise and overdeliver, and I'm just a little bit concerned, to use that word, that maybe the opposite is occurring, and that you're getting a little bit too much promises. Time check, Mr. Harris.
Well, once again, the minister's got me all choked up. I don't know what to say. Time check.
I noticed you got your hair cut and didn't check your brother.
It seemed to be the trend because, there have been at least two.
Boy, and I desperately need one.
In this direction that have occurred without checking your brother. So I figured, well, I guess not checking your brother was just, that's an old idea. But yeah, I had a haircut today. I wasn't planning on it.
We just never do anything in sync. But the fact that we're 1,000 miles away, we're still brothers from another mother.
We are.
We love each other. Nothing has changed.
Absolutely.
So I'll get my hair cut on the weekend.
And a part of that is ragging on each other because, well, hey, what are you going to do when you're bored on a Friday afternoon?
Yeah, like deliberately saying you got 50 million when you really got 52.
Come on, get the details right. That extra 2 is important. Now it's 28 minutes. And
there's a lot of men out there crying for that.
Extra 2, not just men. Anyway.
You are right. You are right, Mr. Harris. There's more than men crying for that extra 2.
And on that note, we shall end it for another exciting week. Thank you to all our valuable listeners, our callers, our contributors, and, of course, our wonderful guests. For making this a week to remember, encouraging you to tune in each and every weekday evening from 4:30 to 6:30 for more Straight Talk right here, exclusively brought to you by Bobo 103.1 FM. Have a great weekend.
The home of the BBC World Service, the most trusted news source in the world. This is